Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life with Restream.
Hello. Good morning. I've had too much coffee.
You're already all hyped up. Me too, because today we have such an awesome show for you guys. You have no idea. This is going to be packed with some practical advice on how to take your meetups and in-person events live based on our personal experience that Charles and I literally had this Monday when we took an event by Raycast, Cursor, and Marcel live on, I believe, a 48-hour notice. So we're going to show a bunch of behind the scenes, a few guides, a few personal stories, some really creative hacks that we had to take in order to make it all happen. And so this is going to be a really cool show. If you are streaming events and or hosting meetups and community events, this is the show for you. We will make sure we'll take all questions that you would like to ask. And for those who are new, we are the Restream team. We are the platform that allows you to create beautiful videos in studio like this one, all virtual, all on the web, and send it to multiple social platforms at the same time, such as YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, and many, many others. So today we're live on more than 18 channels because a bunch of our coworkers paired with us today. So they're broadcasting this event. And we're live in both horizontal and vertical format. So if you're watching us on mobile, let us know. I would like to see how many people are actually watching and chatting on the vertical versions of this show. My name is Anya. I'm Product Marketing Director at Restream. And today with me is Charles, who is our Senior Video Producer. How are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm really good. How are you doing?
Very excited about today's conversation because this show is going to be not as structured as our typical demos because we will have a few tutorials and guides and like very practical examples, but this is mostly like a case study live show that we prepared for you today. And this is a new format for us. And I'm very excited. And if we love it, maybe we'll do more of like specific example of how you can achieve something with Restream with the use case and with like real creator, real company that did that just recently. So that's what this is all about. And of course, let us know in the chat where in the world are you watching from, and maybe if you host meetups or community events, and if you ever considered taking them live, or just what kind of content do you stream. But most importantly, where are you from? What country? What city? We are continuing to grow our YouTube channel. A little housekeeping right here is that you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already. There are two benefits to do that. Number one, it really helps us out because we want to grow to 100,000 followers by the end of this year, hopefully earlier. That is going to give us a little button. We'll be so happy. So if you're not following us yet, please do. If you're watching on other platforms, also give us that follow or like or share if this content is relevant to you and your community. And the second benefit of subscribing to Restream is getting this fresh guides, live shows, Q&A sessions, demos, and updates right into your YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber, you get notifications, so you will never miss a show. And of course, thank you. All right, let's see what chat is doing. Ooh, oh my God, here we go. Chat is active. We see hey from Grant. Good evening, good morning, and good night from Reluctant Creators. Good to see you guys. Love the Cursor swag, says Romari.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I can talk about that. My swag. I deliberately put that on.
We will show you.
I should be wearing my Restream swag as well.
I love those little ones. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, good call out. Cursor is going to be a character today. So we're going to show you a lot of behind the scenes and like people and how the event looked. It was really, really wonderful. And such a pleasure to produce and co-produce. Phil says, good afternoon. Is everyone listening as working on a new project? This is awesome. Linked. Liking the short sign. Thank you. I love my short sign. You can really see it well because we're covering. Let me move the chat on top of Charles for a second. But yes, I love my short sign. I'm bringing it back. Here we go. You can't escape this chat. It's a gift from YouTube Live. When we went to LiveCon, they gave it to us, and I'm super proud of it. And every time we even mention clips, I always have it on. So good call out.
Oh man, LiveCon. That was another very short notice. Event
another crazy thing we did. Absolutely. Alex Bichok is checking in. He says, I see we have some Cursor ambassador here. Yes, that's Charles, I assume.
Is that bad? Should I take this off?
No. It's very relevant to what we're talking about because I know it might not make sense right now, but I promise it will make sense in just 20 minutes. Greetings from Portland, Oregon. Holland here. That's wonderful. Fax NL. That's great. Where else, guys, are you from? Let us know. I live stream myself and use Restream. That's beautiful. Thanks for letting us know. And okay, rebranded into Creative Hacks. That's the way we can invoice for it. Reluctant creators, I see. I am from UK. Greetings from Fish Fam. I remember you guys. Fish Fam showed up on the stream that we did with Raycast. They were always there.
I am from UK. It's at Anfield Road. I can't read that username, but Anfield Road tells me you're a Londoner.
That's a long. Yeah, that's why It's probably an address. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
sorry, I'm sorry. I'm glitching out. Anfield Road there's a soccer club there, and I'm now blanking. It's been too long. Anyway, moving on. It's been a long week.
I know. It's been a long week, and it started here. This is the event that we just kind of stumbled upon. That was hosted by 3 really cool and hot tech companies, Raycast, Vercel, and Cursor. This is in person, basically a fireside chat talk, such as, like you can imagine that, like we'll show a bunch of that in just a minute, but it's basically just the founders sitting together on chairs and talking shop, talking about the industry, the market, like the events and the new horizons of what like today's building and tech basically has to offer, right? Like, so very, very casual conversation, no slides, no presentations, just very kind of like chill, like very vibe talk type thing. The event took place in San Francisco, I believe somewhere in downtown, but correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere central,
kind of
right?
North Beach. Beach, yep.
Very cool. And the event was published on Luma, and of course, the founders and the participants advertised it and shared it on their X channels. So basically, the idea was to bring tech community and builders together and play with the tools, Raycast, Vercel, and Cursor. Hear from the founding team, hear from people who actually work on those products, exchange some feature feedbacks. Just typical tech community event. So here's what happened as we found out that this is going to take place, and that's going to take place, very fortunately for us, in San Francisco, where this guy is based. Charles, and that one, yeah. And this is a little of a backstory of like what was going on behind the scenes at Restream. So once I recognized that this event is happening, I thought about how we were working on some guides and tutorials for people who want to take their meetups and community events live using Restream, because Restream is a perfect tool to take anything in person and make it virtual, right? With Studio being so easy and so seamless. And of course, we have other tools that allow you to pre-promote your event and post-promote it with clips and repurposing of your content. So it all kind of comes together, how you can make a ton of content from your in-person event and also reach a lot more people than can physically fit into one room. So that was kind of on my mind already. And as we were looking for like examples and B-roll, it just all clicked. I was like, wait a minute. So Raycast is a wonderful company. They make great product, and they are already using Restream for their water cooler conversations. So it's kind of like a virtual event that they do once a month. It's like similar to what we do here. It's kind of like a little bit of demos, a little bit of talking about the market, like talk shop. And since they're already familiar with Restream and now they have this meetup, why don't we just go there and take them live? So we messaged them. They were super excited about the idea. They were like, this is awesome. This is great. And then we took this event live. And as a result, as you can see, they shared some feedback. They were like, this was so awesome. I'm so happy we did this. We're so grateful to the crew, which is the Restream crew. And that is basically how one simple idea of illustrating some of our guides turned into a very real, action, something that we ended up doing. And this is what we're sharing today, all the learnings and all the things that we discovered. So we're going to show you a little bit of B-roll of something that Charles filmed as he entered. So basically, we're going from here. This is the moment when we decided that it would be really cool to film, aka take live, the meetup, the in-person event hosted by Raycast, Cursor, and Vercel. And the next thing on Monday is Charles is right there in the building. So we are going to mute this just because the sound is pretty loud. Maybe I'll make it a little bit so you can get a little bit of the ambient.
I didn't shoot this for sound, I haven't listened to this. You might catch conversations that we shouldn't be catching.
Yeah,
just
that's fine.
Be aware that I should.
But yeah, tell us what's going on. Where are we?
We are at the event space, which is in North Beach, and I just want to say that So I've done a lot of big events where I have full teams where it's, I'm just producing or just directing even, or, just sort of overseeing. And I think that the idea that we wanted to walk into this, first of all, limited time, limited access to the venue beforehand. You and I think what we're trying to achieve here is to show how simple it is to take your event live and really maximize what you can do for your community and maximize your exposure and get that flywheel going so that each event is building on the next. And in order to do that, we want to make sure that this is actually very accessible to everybody. So you can hire an events company, have 10 cameras, full PA sound and mics and stuff. We wanted to show that it can be done just with one person and the things that they use at home. So in fact, Pedro came over to me. Pedro, who is he communities manager?
I think he's I think his official title is hype, head of hype,
right.
Which is very, very tech
Honestly,
title.
Perfect guy for that.
I think it's content. I think it's content, primarily content, and a little bit of product marketing. So it's very similar role to what we do in my team. Yeah.
So he came over and he was like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And he could see that I had a camera, capture card into a laptop and some microphones, which we can talk about the sound in a minute. And he was like, "Oh, that's how I do it." And he was literally talking about how he does pieces to camera and films and now live streams at home, in his home studio. And I think that was the point that we were trying to make. You can just take what you have and go and actually produce a live event. So what happened was I just turned up with a camera and some mics and a way of getting sound into the system. And I set up a studio. And what was amazing about this was that I then didn't need to do anything more because you were also in the studio 2,000 miles away in Texas. You joined me in the studio, and then you were able to run the live stream. Now, I could have done it myself, but it's always nice to have backup. So I didn't have to think about the Restream studio. I could just make sure that things were running smoothly at the event, and I could go off and shoot stuff that we're seeing here now. So this is to show that the place was empty. Now it's filling up. People are sitting down. You can see that it's an event. It's a genuine event. It's
a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one. We'll talk about numbers in a second too. But so this will definitely, as we transition to the conversation when we talk about actually being live, we're going to talk a little bit about before, during, and then after. But yes, during the event, we will come back to this topic of having somebody on site who can set up the computer, sound, and camera. Those are the only three things that you need. Restream Studio, some kind of camera to capture the video, and some kind of audio to capture the sound. And then you can have a remote producer who is not there at all, who can actually help run the event completely independently without being there. So, which is also not mandatory, right? You can't do everything with the on-site person, or you can do it remotely. So there are different options.
I mean, technically I could have done, but I don't know if I'd have been able to handle the chat and, and making sure everything was running smoothly. So as it is, you can see that I'm shooting B-roll and I'm setting up the live cameras. I've done all of this. There's me I'm literally filming myself, just literally a camera just pointing. Now,
I love that. I love that moment when you just totally hey, that's all it is. Just the tripod. There is a tripod too. So as we come back to the gear. So let's talk a little bit about, so this is the event, and this is how we ended up taking it live. But let's talk a little bit about the before, right? So when we think about a meetup that you would create, you typically would choose something like Luma to create a little landing page where people can register for that event, for that meetup, for that tech community or any other community gathering, right? And what most people do is they simply take that landing page with that little graphic, an RSVP button, and take it to their major social channels, such as right here, Thomas, who is the founder of Raycast, is basically posting about it on X and saying, hey, we're hosting this event in San Francisco. If you're using our product, if you're interested in hearing this talk, RSVP and come. So that's basically something that most people do when they have an in-person type of meetup. And then they hope for the best, right? A lot of times, if you, like Thomas, have very large community in technology world, that is extremely effective, right? Like you're going to have a lot of people who will come in, lots of people that are following you. Of course, your team will repost and share, or maybe create their own posts about this event. Maybe some of your partners and some of your customers would also share it, right? Like so there is a little bit of opportunity to amplify that there, but that's basically where it ends for the overwhelming majority of people. What we're thinking at Restream, what's possible to do even better and to like really fill up that event is to use Restream to pre-promote it. And how I'm thinking about this is like if we had an in-person event here at Restream office, the first thing I would do is I would shoot some kind of a little like sizzle reel, right? Like some kind of like an exciting video that talks about what this event is going to be about, who are the speakers, what are the topics, why it is cool to come and be part of it. If you host meetups and events kind of like at scale, if that happens a lot, so you have similar events from the past, it's super easy to just do like a little time lapse or a little video that features previous events. And what you do next is you basically post the video about it. You can actually schedule it to go live. So it's going to give you a lot more exposure and a lot of recognition. So your channel is going to appear as live. And then you can loop it. So the video continues, like rolling on repeat. And it kind of becomes like an evergreen, always on promotion of something that's coming up in person, which is, of course, a lot more exciting and has way higher potential to attract more people than just one post. So let's see how...
It doesn't need to be complicated. Like what you're describing here. I had two cameras at that event. So I had the camera that I was going to use for the live stream, and then I had a second camera that I was shooting B-roll. But that's because you and I are, shooting B-roll for our own purposes, not necessarily for... We weren't shooting the B-roll for a next event. Yeah. Now, there were people there like Stephanie from Raycast who was just shooting stuff on her phone. She was shooting vertically and she was grabbing clips. They are undoubtedly, they are going to use those clips to promote any next event. They're going to use them for social means. So it doesn't need to, you don't need to overthink it is the point. And also it can be photos. Like you could take photos and you can make videos using photos.
Stitch them together.
You can reach out to your community and say, hey, you can look at their Facebook pages, you can look at their LinkedIn or their X, and grab photos that other people have taken and videos that other people have taken to get that vibe and to build that pre-promotion. And I think that this, again, we sort of touched on the flywheel. This is very much a part of that flywheel and getting it going. And you can kick it off, as you say, by just doing something yourself, just filming yourself, a selfie. Yeah. Hey, we're coming to your town,
Exactly.
So it doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
Absolutely. Then add some B-roll of that town, even like just like San Francisco B-roll, and like that's done. Like there's so many ways to simplify that. But let's see how. So basically, create a little guide on how you can pre-promote your in-person event. See how you build that out.
Event promoters, did you know that live streaming your promo video, not just posting it, pushes you way further up the algorithm?
Here's how to use Restream to fill up every event.
Upload your video and schedule it to go live across your channels, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, all at once. Invite your speakers and partners to stream it on their channels too. And with that extra reach, registrations climb well before the doors open.
Build momentum for every meetup with a platform as simple as a video call. Take your events live with Restream.
Nice. So this is basically like a quick.
You moved. I'm gonna move that.
We'll get to chat. Don't worry. I see it. I see the question.
I'm not looking at the chat. I was looking at the still of me. I hate seeing myself on the screen.
Oh my God, that's okay.
I'm not someone who's like, I don't want to see myself. It was just like seeing the videos of myself that I made.
In that case, we absolutely have to bring up that question because LY48 9XO is asking Charles, "Are you single?" So you're so you're so amazing that probably they would prefer if we kept the video of you. We will keep this. Let's reveal this in the end of the show, if you feel like. But yeah, I felt like this is. And this is not a single question. There are like a few like follow-ups on that one. So I think we owe to our audience to answer that one. But coming back to pre-promoting the event, like that is the flow that we recommend, and it's super easy to achieve. Just like I said, take any video that you already have. It could be previous event. It could be something that you record, communicating the value and the benefits of being there. It could be something about you arriving to the town where you're setting it up and just the B-roll of that city, all kinds of options, but sending them live versus just posting about them, those meetups is going to give you a little extra boost. So eventually the event starts, right? Eventually you get into the room, you get the speakers, maybe they have some slides to share, maybe they just want to talk, which was the case here. And this is where Restream really comes in. It makes things super simple because, of course, the capacity of your event is limited by physical space, right? We happen to know some numbers that our friends from Raycast shared with us. They said that the room that you saw that Charles was filming earlier in the B-roll had the capacity of 120 people. So that's not a lot of people for, flying. Well, not all of those people flew in, but like Raycast are based in Europe primarily, right? Like, so they came in, and of course they teamed up with Cursor and Marcel. And 120 people is not a lot of people to actually participate and hear and ask questions and kind of like be part of this amazing event. Of course, they had a lot more people who wanted to come in. So their wait list on their event page was 600 people more. So that's a lot of people who didn't get in, right? Even though they really wanted to. So the question then becomes, if you're hosting this community event, like what do you do with those people? A lot of people end up just sending them a recording afterwards, which is a valid option. That's something you can do. But that still kind of like robs them from this experience of being there. It definitely doesn't allow them the opportunity to ask questions if this is that kind of like communication, Q&A, ask me anything type event. And still, if it's a recording, that's already happened. So it does give them that little like second class feeling. In addition to those people who were registered and on the wait list, there are also thousands and thousands of people who would never make it to San Francisco because they're based somewhere else, right? Because they have some other things that are happening that day. So what is the solution? If you bring in Restream and with a simple three element setup, right? Like you need camera, you need your laptop where you run the studio, and you need mic to get the sound in. Which we had a little bit of trouble in, and like a very creative solution, with which we will talk about later. You can take this event live and let thousands and hundreds of thousands of people to not only watch it, but also participate in it. What we have on this little screen shot of the event that we took from the actual event as we were producing it is the question that's asked from somebody on YouTube. The question was like, what are some features that your product team is secretly envied to each other? And the speakers happily took it, and it turned into like really exciting and vibrant conversation and discussion. So the person who watched on YouTube was able to not only watch the event that they couldn't have made in person, but also be part of it and actually drive the conversation. So I think this is super powerful and super exciting. Yeah, let's have a look at the walkthrough. But yeah, Charles, go ahead.
A couple of things about this. It's 3 companies. If you don't think that you can pull in all of the people, team up. This is collabs on YouTube are very common. This was a collab, and it exploded, and it means that you're not just again multi-streaming to your channels and to your community. You're double, tripling up, and then not only are those companies, each individual in that company has their own channels. So you can start pairing channels. Like this network is suddenly huge. So it wasn't just the 600 people that couldn't make it into the room. There are now potentially thousands of people that are going to get exposed to your brand and to your message. And you're also building up this fantastic community within the room. Like what was happening in that room at that time, the networking that was happening, it's valuable not just to the companies. Those people there in that space had a fantastic time, and then that vibe of the company, it's just fabulous PR as well.
Yeah.
So I think that multiplication effect of not just you spinning up the flywheel for your events, but also just the community aspect of it is huge. It's huge, and then in terms of the chat question that or rather the what you was talking about the chat.
The comments,
I think that is. I really want to make sure that it's so clear how important that is.
Yeah.
That you do use a chat during your event so that people are able to feel like they are there and they are a part of it. It's what makes this whole thing. It's the icing, but it's a very important aspect to building the community.
Yes, absolutely. People should feel like they're part of it. They're not just spectators, right? Like they can also do what people who are sitting in those chairs can do. When it's time for Q&A, they can raise their hand.
Because that's the whole point of live stream. Is it's not a passive experience. It is interactive. So it's really imperative that you actually make that space, have that thought. When can we do this? And so what we did was we pinned those comments. So when those good comments came in, we were pinning them in the studio so that Anya, you could bring them up when that question was asked, because you're not going to see that person. Therefore, you definitely want to have it on screen. So sorry,
no, it was great.
Some points.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to watch a quick kind of like summary guide on how we took this event and how you could take your event.
Oh, no.
It's you again. But then I really want to come back and like reiterate the point of rebroadcasting and pairing, and how events with multiple speakers, with multiple companies, and with multiple community members could really get gigantic if you use this one simple, super affordable and easy feature that Restream offers. So let's see how you could use Restream during the event.
Events aren't limited by room capacity, so why are you limiting yours?
Here's how one fairly small change can get so much more out of the hard work you've already done. Restream Studio lets you broadcast live everywhere your audience is. YouTube, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, Instagram, all at once.
No production team, no complicated setup.
Your speakers present from anywhere in the world with easy control of their slides, videos, and notes. Moderate chat, comments, and questions in one place. Add your partners and guests' channels
And post short clips while the event is still running.
to grab the attention of latecomers. And with 24/7 human support, everything runs smoothly.
Build momentum for every event you run with a platform as simple as a video call. Take your event live with Restream.
Good stuff. Okay. So I think that two things that I actually want to point out. First, I wanted to talk about how, and you mentioned that in the guide, rebroadcasting the event and sharing it between partners, teammates, people who are speakers, speaker individual channels, speakers company channels is the way to really, really amplify it. And if you're putting all this work into setting up this meetup, creating the space, renting the venue, booking speakers, getting catering, right? Like you're already putting all this effort in. You might as well take that content out and make it accessible to more people who are interested in what you do. But the last thing that you said, I cannot stress that enough. That the experience of taking this in-person event live is as easy as a video call is so true, because Restream Studio is not a crazy complicated TV station like software, right? Like it does look and feel like Google Meets in a way, because you simply point the camera, you have to figure out the sound, which I really want to talk about in a second here. And then you could use a co-producer just to make sure that the virtual experience for the virtual attendees is exciting and vibrant. They get recognized, their questions getting picked up. Like one of the things that I was doing behind the scenes is like watching to make sure that all the feeds are live, that the sound is good. I did check the sound before we actually hit that go live button. So that is all very helpful. But in the end of the day, it's just the computer, camera, and microphones, and then the social channels that you want this event to be distributed on for just like 10x, 100x multiplier of what kind of attendance and what kind of viewership and reach you can get. Let's talk about mics. So we had a little issue there, and you had a very creative solution. I'll be honest with you, behind the scenes, this is me, by the way, in the moment of this. Like I took that selfie because I was all alone in the office. It was pretty late here. I felt like I'm on a spaceship. I think I sent this to my family, and they were like, "Are you on the spaceship?" Like, I know it does look like I'm on the spaceship, but this is me co-producing this event, and you shared that there was a little issue with sound. So like basically the microphones were not.
I share that? I shared
Yeah.
that. I think that's a very kind way of putting it.
Yeah, there was a little bit moment of panic, which no event could exist without the moment of panic. But
All right.
so the microphones that they were planning to use originally would not necessarily easily feed into a laptop. That was just the fact that we realized last minute. So what? How did it go, and what did we end up doing?
Okay, so when doing any shoot, any event, you want to do a recce, which is a British military, or could be any military, a reconnaissance basically, which means going to the venue, looking at it. So you want to have a look to see whether there is Ethernet, because if you can get Ethernet, you're going to really, really want that. So you take a 200 meter, 200 feet Ethernet cable and you run it around the room so that you can plug into any outlet that they have. Because although this is going to work on Wi-Fi, when you've got a room full of 100 people all using the guest Wi-Fi, so and you can have your own hotspot and what have you, but an Ethernet cable, definitely take that. And so you need to ask about that at the venue. The other thing is power. Will your equipment work on battery alone? So you need a very long power cable. These are the really basic things.
Yeah.
Can you have a line of sight to whatever's happening from your camera? If you're using a phone, can you get that phone high enough? Can you just stick it in a mount and put it on a wall and then just have a cable to your computer? Or in fact, I believe that pretty certain you can actually do it wirelessly, but not ideal, but you can do it. And then there's sound. When you're doing an event like this, if you watch that video back, there is the sound of the event where everyone in the room is quiet and we have people using microphones. And then you've got the bits of me talking to the camera, and you can hear how noisy it is, and you can hear the noise suppression I've had to add to those videos. I actually want to go back and sweeten those because I'm hearing it now with fresh ears. It's not as good as I think it could be. I'm gonna go and sweeten that a bit more before we release those. So I wasn't able to do a recce on site and actually go and feel these things out. So we were having discussions in Slack as to what the sound situation would be. I made the mistake of assuming that there would be power. There wasn't. So that dictated where the camera was positioned. So I'm slightly off to the side. I knew that there would be people, and I don't mind that. I don't mind seeing people.
I think it's a good shot, honestly. Like, I think it gives the vibe and like the understanding of the space. Like, it feels like you're sitting behind the first row, right? Like, which is kind of the intended feel that you want to give to your virtual audience.
I could have got closer, but it would then impeded on the people in the event, and I didn't want the equipment to get knocked. If you were watching, you'll have seen that it actually moved slightly. I was on a large table and I put the tripod on the table. In fact, you can see it in the back of some of our B-roll.
Yeah.
And so there were people bumping, even though they were huge, there were people bumping. I've got camera stabilization on. I've done everything I can. So I think that really the key thing, though, is if people, like a shot like this, it's not perfect, but people are like, okay, yeah, I'm watching it and I can hear. If they can't hear, you're going to get tons of comments. It sounds no good. It sounds too low. It's too bit noisy. I can't hear. You're going to just get that constant. And honestly, at that point, I would consider abandoning. Now, I know that's a terrible thing to say, but sound is so key.
Yeah.
And so what happened here was they, like a lot of event spaces, have their own PA, public address system. So they can play music through it, which you need to be careful about any music you're putting out on the internet. They can play music, they can show videos, they can do all of this stuff. It's all integrated. There was no way of getting the sound from those microphones into my camera. Now, I did ask questions, and I was shown that there was a wall plate that had XLR connectors, which it said output. It had input and output. So my reasonable assumption was, okay, I can get the event sound straight out of the wall. And when I got there, it didn't work. So
Which happens,
what am I going to do?
Which happens at the events all the
Absolutely.
time. And when you are planning these things, you absolutely have to account for that. So when we were planning your arrival there, we had a backup plan in mind of miking people differently. So
Yes. So they had 4 mics on site, and they wanted to use all 4. because they had 3 guests and then they wanted to take questions from the audience. And I managed to get it so that one microphone got into my system and still worked in their system. But that was all. You can't run an event with just one microphone.
Yeah.
It really would have been impeding. So what did I do? I got my Bluetooth DJI mics.
Those guys.
And I took some gaffer tape and I stuck the microphones to their microphones. So if you look closely, you can just about see that. There is, in fact, a lump on the edge of that microphone. That is my mic, gaffer taped to the side of that microphone. So they had
hilarious.
2 mics. Now, and it worked beautifully.
The sound was absolutely top. And if you don't know this backstory, you would never figure out that was not like a sound that was like provided professionally by the venue. But this kind of ingenuity, I was so proud of the solution, not because it saved the day. Well, of course, because it saved the day, but also because of how elegant and simple it is. Because of course, there's always a solution if you have time to go and buy new microphones and like mic up the whole thing, like rebuild the whole system. But this was such an elegant and like truly in the moment solution that just did the job. And yes, there's a little bit of ugliness of the duct tape in there, but there's also just a great result. No, not at all.
No one would know. No one would really know. The only problem is people put their hand on the top of it, but those mics are pretty good. I just want to let.
Great story. Yeah.
You need to have contingency. You've got to think about these things beforehand. And the last thing I want to say on this, just before, while I remember, the event was started at 5:30. Technically, they started about 6:15.
Yeah.
I think events always tend to start a little later. That's fine. I was aiming to be ready at 5:00, and I thought, okay, it's gonna. So I estimate it will take me an hour to set up if things go right. That means you need to be there 2 to 2.5, maybe 3 hours before. Now, why is that? That's because there are things that you think are you don't account for. For instance, when I arrived, I sat in reception for 20 minutes waiting to be collected. That's 20 minutes that I was there. The person knew I was there. They were just, running around.
It's an
These
event.
are people that are busy doing their own things. They don't need to come and hold my hand.
No, absolutely.
It takes time to get your stuff get my camera out of the car, and to put it down in the reception. Tell the receptionist what I'm doing, who I am. Show my ID, sign in. These are all, everything adds up. And then you're like, you've got to find power. You've got to run cables. It's very, very simple. You just need more time. So I basically was ready about 30 minutes before we actually went live, and we went live at 6:15, and the event started at 5:30. I think was it? Yeah, so
something like that.
So I would say that was close, but then I am someone who says if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, I think it's very important with events, and I've filmed events before. In my previous life, before I became marketer at Restream, I was actually a journalist, and I was covering video gaming events on shows like GDC, E3, and things like that. So basically, filming the event was my job for the longest time. And there's always, I always think about this, like, yes, you always have to be super early because you need to give yourself time to solve whatever event and life is going to throw on you, because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be some delays. Everything takes 2 times more time than you think it does. And my favorite part was to always account for, okay, so there are things that are going to potentially happen, right? Like there will be delays, there will be a line, the person will be unavailable, there will be bad internet, there will be something that you already know. And then there's also things that you don't know, but they're still there. There's like those issues and like surprise, like craziness during the event. And you also need to account for that because yes,
the
extra
known
time.
knowns and the unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
The things that will slow you down.
The known unknowns and the
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why having a behind the scenes producer, like what we did for this one, is a really good idea if you can do that, because then somebody else can just like take the edge of other things that, so you can just focus on the things that are on site that a person with hands and eyes on site can solve, and then everything that can be virtually, remotely done. And also helps to have a second person just being like, okay, well, let's think about it. It's like, how about this? Did we think about that thing? So like that was really cool dynamic for me personally, because I felt like it was, I was like super invested in this. Like I really wanted to make it right. So it was like super exciting thing to do. Love
just
it.
Taking off that cognitive overload, just to have to know that you were there, and that I could just say, right, that I don't need to think about. Mm-hmm. I know that's going to be okay, that you can solve that. And the fact that you can solve it remote, offsite, you could have been at home in bed, That's a really, really fantastic thing. And in fact, what I could do even, and I did think about this, is set up a second camera with my phone and just get like a wide shot of the entire room. And then you could have added that second camera and you could have just cut to it every now and again if you wanted to. And I didn't need to do that. Like I could just, once my equipment was running, I could walk away. I didn't walk away. I was monitoring. I was looking at the chat. I was looking for opportunities, and I was checking, and I was listening to things, and and then I was walking around the room shooting B-roll, and I knew that I could walk away because you were there. So yes, although it's very doable, I could have done the whole thing myself. It just,
but having co-producer really helps. So yeah, that's how we did this. We are going to talk about what happens after the event and how you can repurpose and get a lot more mileage from that content from your in-person meetup or tech community event. But first, I want to turn to chat and look at a few questions, because I know people are asking. And if you are hosting or considering to host a meetup, a tech event, a community gathering, a hackathon, a fireside chat, any kind of event that features a real in-person physical space, audience that is physically in the space, but you also want to take it live, this show is for you. This is what we're breaking down. If you have questions, even very, very specific questions, this is the best place to ask them, because you have me, who does the marketing, and also Charles, who does the actual video work on site. So we got you covered. Let's see what we have in the chat. Question, I guess, coming from LinkedIn, very easy to use. I guess that's a comment in general about Restream. This is true, and this is true about events as well, because during events we're aiming to making it very, very easy. So that's the whole goal. All right, what is the next big feature we are cooking? Good question. I would say the next live show that will be dedicated to a new release is going to be related to clips and the new clips editor. So we will show you how to really customize and make the live clips and just clips from your live shows really your own. There are a few new updates there, while the core of the editor is still the same. You can still reframe, trim, caption, stylize, and just kind of like rearrange speakers and rearrange the layouts. But there are some new things about it and how the UX looks. So we're going to be covering that. Another big feature we are working on that is very common request, and a lot of people are looking forward to having it, is browser source in Studio. I know we talked about this from the early on in this year, and it is actively in the works. It's our top priority on the roadmap right now. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that in another couple of weeks. So that's what's cooking.
I would love people to suggest what they want for browser source. Like, let us know what you would use browser source for. Let us know what your use case is. Let us know what you would like from us in terms of browser source, because I think it's got really exciting potential, but I think that there are going to be use cases that we haven't thought about. So
we won't cover. And there will be use cases that are like super obvious, such as like pulling in like maybe subscribers and like some kind of overlays that you would use. But yeah, let us know what exactly would you like to overlay on Studio as if you had the browser source today. That's a great.
I imagine there'll be like polymarket chat, polymarket numbers. Yes. There'll be tickers. There'll be news tickers. Breaking news stuff. There'll be just simple things clocks like and timers. Maybe scoreboards that I imagine there are. But there's going to be stuff. Polls,
quizzes.
Man.
Donations. There's donations. It does unlock a lot depending on what you do. Registrations, some kind of like trivia stuff. Like there's so many things you can do there. Let us know.
What do you mean by registrations?
For example, if you have some kind of like a live registration thing, like it's basically anything that you have on the website, you can bring it in and make it an overlay, right? Then show in a studio. So if you have, let's say you're like selling tickets to a concert, for example, and you want to see like the ticket sales or like how many minutes are left before like the sale starts.
So even live sales, even then.
Anything that you can show dynamically on any kind of website, you will be able to overlay in Studio. That's what Browser Source does. So there's so many use cases. But yeah, let us know. Yeah, any reactions, anything. So let us know what you are going to use it for. If Browser Source is something that you're looking forward to as well, as excitingly and passionately as we do. A few questions, I guess, in general. I know this is so good.
I really love it. I'm so happy that I get to do this for a living. I love it.
Yeah. Guided Minds is asking, is it possible to download the footage after from an all-day stream, or is there a limit? So it depends. The answer is always is it depends, right? When you say all day, do you mean something like?
Well, events run for days, don't they? So.
Right, but is it like a day of event? Is it 5 hours, or is it 24 hours times 5? Right, like so that really depends. In terms of limitations on recording length. It depends on your plan. So if you are, for example, on our professional plan, your one recorded stream is limited to 10 hours. That's a ton of hours. That's a very long day of an event, right? So that should really cover you in terms of, for example, even something like what we showed here with Raycast, right? Like that event lasted for about 4 hours. If assuming that you started the live stream when people were still gathering and you live streamed the whole thing, not just the talk, right? It would still be about 4 hours. If your event is more like a conference, then basically on professional plan, you have up to 10 hours for that. We do offer enterprise plan for more. If your events are closer to 24 hours, for whatever reason, you have some kind of a marathon type situation, that is something that you can unlock by talking to our sales team. But by default, you have 10 hours per stream that you can record and then download. If you're on Pro Plan and if you're on Standard, it is going to be 6 hours. Hopefully that answers your question.
I mean, that's 6 hours is
for any meetup, it should be plenty. For any meetup, it should be plenty. And then you can download it, and then of course, you can repurpose it, which is it? Could you? Yeah, no, I was just wondering whether you could go live and then turn off and go live. Like if you had different, you would want to keep it going, because I think if we had a second set of speakers, like let's say we had the fireside chat in this particular one. If we then had a keynote, I would have played a video in between. I'd have had something prepped in between, so I'd have kept that live stream going. So. What is 1 hour, 2 1 hour speeches actually is probably closer to 3 hours worth of content, but that's still it's still way within the limit. The benefit of keeping it all within one stream is because it keeps gaining momentum, right? So the platforms would push it up if they see engagement, and you don't want to break it, because then the new stream will basically have to start gaining that momentum and gaining that interest and gaining those chatters. Versus if it continues to go, because then it's going to come in waves and the platforms will push it. So there's benefits of keeping it longer. There's also a benefit of URL, right? If you're promoting this event and sharing it with people, you want one link. You don't want to send multiple links to people for each section or each panel discussion. So it makes sense to want to have it as a one thing, 6 hours or 10 hours, even if it's that long. But it is within your limits. And if you need more, it's also an option. Just talk to our sales team.
And of course, for the algorithm, you do want it live. You don't want to just record it and then put it out. I mean, you can upload and stream it, but a live event, going live is great for the algorithm.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question from Ali here. Any tips on creating interesting scenes with setups like this? I think we're used to managing multiple participant inputs versus scenes in a single camera like this. I think it's a great question if we can come back to the events, right? So how can you utilize scenes to show, to give more life and to give more air to the event? So with this one, because it was super simple, just people sitting on chairs, and we wanted to build the case around this whole thing being simple, we chose to go with literally just 3 scenes. I had only 3 scenes in there, as you can see in my behind the scenes. So one scene was a countdown, because we wanted to hype people up before we started. And we had a few ideas. We ended up with going with a simple countdown saying hey, we're about to start, welcoming people. And then once the countdown was over, we transitioned into that same view, and then speakers took their chairs and started the conversation. And then the last scene was chat highlights. And then a little thank you screen, the same one that we will use in the end of this one when you have an overlay saying thanks for watching. So basically 4 scenes. there is an opportunity to create much more. For example, if your speakers are showing some kind of a demo or sharing slides or sharing videos, I would definitely recommend creating a special scene when you have that slide, that source, right, that information, and then additionally you have the speaker on the side. I do see option for creating scenes with layout similar to what we have right now. If you have a speaker who is on stage and then you have maybe a remote speaker who is joining virtually. So then the two-way layout like this one would be really good for even for in-person events. What else? Can you think of any other scenes that you would utilize to?
Let's say someone's got a slide deck.
Yeah.
And you're at the event and you actually came up with this solution. We were thinking if someone's going to start showing slides at this event and I'm not able to tap into their system and get like an HDMI cable through a capture card, and then into my system to bring it in as a second camera, you were like, well, no, you just put the deck on your computer so that when they change slide, you change slide. So set up a scene with any slide decks that are going to be used, and then you can just click through as they click through. I think that was a great idea. If you are using more than one camera, then of course you can send out like an RTMP feed and set up multiple cameras into like a black magic box, or if you've got a professional system, you can have a full studio feed from a professional switcher and then coming through, and you have sound desks and everything, and that can all just go straight into a capture card. The beauty is, of course, that Restream itself only needs a laptop. And then if really good things to have, as we sort of spoke about, would be to have things to go in between. So whether it's just a slide, if let's say you have a switch between speakers and you don't have any videos pre-prepped, you haven't had any time, just cut to the wide angle shot of the room and have the sound of the room of people chatting. Or if that's music. Not appropriate, take that sound out, play some music. You've got music in the studio. So visual interest is always important. I think that bringing up any supporting materials, stills, images, graphics, videos, anything like that. And as we were doing, we showed B-roll while we were chatting. Now the B-roll wasn't specific to what we were talking about. It's just a vibe. It just gives you a feel for what I was experiencing in that room as I was at that event. And I think that so in terms of scenes, which was the question, you tailor the scenes to what you have and to what the event is. But part of your pre-preparation is to think about those scenes and to think about what materials you have. And sometimes less is more. Just a simple, at the end of our streams, we have thanks for watching. Yeah. And, that would be a wonderful thing. Just thanks for watching. And then, show the wide shot of people milling around.
Yeah, you basically already answered, but it's a really nice segue to the reluctant creators question. Instead of breaking the stream, what would be nice to interrupt the recording during lunch? You'll still have the stream going, but you don't have to. You could suspend the recording. This is actually very true because our recordings do have an option to pause. You can pause the recording if you want. If you are trying to show something that is clearly a filler, and then you can resume it. I really love this comment, so thank you so much for bringing this up. But yes, like you said, for breaks and conversations and kind of like in between times, B-roll that you captured earlier, if you have the opportunity and bandwidth to like quickly edit it and like put it in studio, is a great opportunity. Showing something that you prepared earlier is also good. And for those people who are running those community events, not necessarily like the 3 tech companies that we featured today, but maybe you have sponsors, maybe you have supporters, maybe you have folks who are who have their own like sponsored message or their ad or their promotional videos, and those are really great opportunities to kind of like integrate into the taking the in-person event live by mentioning the sponsors and some videos about their products. So that's another way to kind of like break things.
And you don't have to have one countdown. You could have more countdowns. So let's say you prepare a countdown that's leading into the next speaker, and that countdown can be whatever you want. It can be a video, it can be a promo, it can be, you could actually just have graphics up on screen of who your sponsors are, of who the next speaker is, and then a countdown timer. And those countdowns can be, like they can be hours long, right? You can have them whatever you want. So if you have a break of 15 minutes between each speaker, make a 15-minute countdown.
Have a creative countdown.
And you don't have to stay there for the
idea.
it gives people, they know they can go out and put the kettle on if they were in England, or get their Nespresso pods going if they're here in the US. But it gives them that time, and of course that countdown you can always come out of that countdown early if need be.
Yeah, absolutely. So reluctant creators also guessed your trick. You attached a Rode wireless to their microphone. It was not Rode, but it was exactly.
Let me. So here, look. I saw that question coming up.
Yeah.
So what I had at that time, I rented this camera. This is a FX2, and I have this top mount. So I was going to have the sound come into these XLRs at the top here at line level, but it didn't. That plan was scuppered. So what I did was, I have this little device that has my DJI mics, and because I thought about this, I had two cameras that are both made in the Sony ecosystem, and I brought this one in, and I knew that this would there's an adapter, but I knew that this would work on both my cameras. So I was able to take the DJI mic and literally just gaffer tape it to the microphone that I knew that they would be using in the room. So it transmitted wirelessly into my streaming camera, into here, and then the sound and the video were both in camera, and then that came out of an HDMI cable into my capture card, which went straight into the Restream studio. The advantage of doing it camera and pictures together in the video and the sound together in the camera means that I know that they're in sync. If I had used an external audio capture card like my Focusrite, my Scarlett, and I'd used my Camlink for the video, there's a possibility that the two could get out of sync. Like, I worry about these things. It's not desperate, especially at that distance. It's not desperately critical, but I do the best I can. I always strive for the best. Sometimes you fall short. For instance, I fell short that I couldn't get the sound of that PA, but you start off with aiming for the best, and then as you get scuppered by things, you just go down and down and down until you get the next best, the solution that works. So there you go. So yes, I literally gaffer taped them, and these last for 6 hours or something.
That is awesome. Yeah,
we got there. We did it. It was quick and dirty, but honestly, the sound worked really well.
It did. It sounded great. And if you haven't seen that event, it is on our YouTube and on our X, so you can go back and kind of check it out. It did work really well. And their event was so pretty, says Lawson on X. It's true. They had great venue and very good vibe. And I'm so happy that we were able to take this live and create this little case study around this, and hopefully inspire you to take yours. It is really, really nice. I see there are a few questions about chats. The only issue I have right now is I can't see vertical stream chats. That's something to check in with our support, because vertical stream chats should come through if you're talking about YouTube. There are limitations on vertical chats if you're talking about TikTok and Instagram, and that's not the vertical limitation. It's just the fact that those platforms do not yet have an API with third-party applications like Restream. So statistics, views, analytics, and chats simply do not come from those platforms back. The workaround is to have a separate tab, which is what I do. I actually have my Instagram tab open, and I'm looking at the comments there. So if you want to ask a question on Instagram, if you're watching us on Instagram right now, please type in a quick question. I'll check in a few minutes, and I can take it back. It's not
there's someone in Singapore watching on Instagram. We've seen that.
That was earlier.
I've seen it, but
it's
we didn't
right
get
there.
around to it.
Yeah. So that's one way to do it. As soon as those platforms open up chats for us, we will immediately bring them into multi-chat. But the vertical chats from YouTube should be coming through. And if they don't, please talk to our support. They'll take it. They take care of it for you. And a few more questions on. So there's another question. I have been a user of Restream for 3 years, experiencing live chat issues. Is there a way of getting help to pray before you start the event? This is a very valid question, and it's actually very connected to what we're talking about. Of course, if you are taking your event virtually, you want to make sure that the virtual experience is also good, right? So the people who are in the room and the people who are watching feel kind of the same, right? The best way to do it is to test it. Our technical support is 24/7. So if you reach out to our live chat, you can actually start a test stream from Studio into your channel. It's not going to be that event. You want to wait for that event that you scheduled to start when you're ready. But you can start a little test stream. You can even make it unlisted. Unlisted actually won't let you test the chat, so it should be open. And you can ask one of our support reps to just jump in and send you a few messages. Maybe you can ask somebody from your team to do it. So the best way to make sure that it works is to test. The second best thing, if you're starting the event and you're experiencing some kind of an issue, again, reach out to our 24/7 support. They're responding within minutes, and they are prioritizing people who are saying, hey, we have a technical issue with the live stream that's happening right now. So you get help first. And of course, there are a few creative ways. Let me know in the chat if you want me to share them. I don't want to bore everyone else with like the very detailed options of what you can do. If you can see chats on the end platform, but they're not coming through to Restream chat. I had that experience many, many years ago, one time only. It was one time in my life. But I did find a workaround of basically copying them and creating captions out of all those chats and basically showing them as captions. That was my workaround. It's a lot of work. It's not ideal, especially if your chat is very busy. But that is one thing you can do if nothing else works and you absolutely have to show those chats on screen. So that would be my suggestion. But number one, test. Number two, talk to support if you're live. And number three, potentially do that workaround. One of the things, Charles, you and I talked about, if we were not sure if the microphone would be good enough to capture like the questions from the real audience, we wanted to actually guide the speakers to repeat the question. Like that was one of the solutions that I also recommended. Like if we did not need that because the second microphone that was distributed between people who were asking questions was working well. But potentially you can just say, hey, whenever someone asks a question, just repeat the gist of it before you answer. And that allows you to also avoid that kind of like audio or like this context thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So first of all, do contact support for anything. They are amazing. They are the reason I'm here. Is that the support was so phenomenal at the events and the live streams and the podcast recordings and live recordings that I was doing. I fell in love with Restream because actually I liked the product, but I loved the support. So do reach out. They will go live with you and test everything. So I think I just want to really reiterate that. They are incredible. Shout out Grant and Co and Ellie and all these wonderful people. When you are taking audience questions and when you are using microphones at an event, there are a couple of things that will really help you out. First of all, the fewer microphones, actually the better. The reason being, when someone's got a microphone, they talk, and you don't necessarily want people, I've got a mic here and I talk too much, right? You don't necessarily want people to have control of the microphone, particularly an audience member. So really good working practice is to have microphones that are shared, because it's like people know that they can only talk and only be heard when they are holding that talking stick. Yeah. So you need to have a moderator that absolutely has their own I call it a talking stick. Anyway,
I love it.
You need to have a host or a moderator that has their own dedicated, so they can actually communicate with you and the whole room. Okay, everyone, let's have a listen, settle down, whatever. They are the master of ceremony. And then you have a microphone that is either shared between guests, or if you can manage having each guest have one microphone, that's great. People do weird things with microphones. They hold them on the top, they hold them at the bottom. They hold them too low. The more microphones you have in the room, the more you have to contend with how to control those microphones. And so that's a sort of rule. The other thing is, if you're taking audience questions, again, have that question repeated by the person answering or by the moderator, so that you know you've understood.
Yeah.
But also, not everyone in your room has English as a first language, or is asking, so it could be that someone's not understood the question on the panel. So if the moderator repeats that, the person on the panel gets a little bit of extra time to think about it. They get to digest it. It's really good working practice. And then on the live stream, if you can show that question on the live stream, again, perfect. So people that weren't there at the beginning, if they've missed it or they weren't listening. And then in terms of microphone in the room, if you can have a mic runner, amazing, because what that mic runner does is they look around the room, people put their hand up, they'll ask a question, they'll go 1, 2, 3, and they let people know what number they are, so they're not all fighting for it. They know you've seen them, they've recognized. So you then hand that microphone to that first person, they ask their question, and then you grab that mic back, because if you don't take it back, they will keep talking, they will ask for, just one more follow-up question. And a lot of people don't answer a question. They give a huge long story.
Yeah.
and then at the end they go, and what do you think? Right. So
Yeah.
again, you need to be able to pull that microphone from them, and you start reaching. It's like playing the music at the Oscars. You start reaching for that mic. You give them a cue. Stop talking. Let other people have a turn. So because I've just had the floor, you'll notice I've just kept talking. I've done it. I've literally done it just now. So case in point.
All right. I see some questions here. Is this pre-recorded? I feel like it is pre-recorded. It is not pre-recorded, and that's why we're able to see your question highlighted and call you out on this. Are you able to see this chat messages? Is from Desi. Also, do you have like otters? Are those otters or beavers around you? I love that. So yeah, are you able to see this chat message? We are, and you are welcome to ask any other questions because this is absolutely not pre-recorded at all. You guys love your style. This is great to hear. There was another question about colorizing the super chats. This feature is in the works right now. We are going to bring it in. I believe we're already testing it internally, so that's coming very soon. I'm not sure about pop-up video or animation in the chat, but they will be marked separately so you know exactly who is super chatting so you can acknowledge them as they deserve to be acknowledged. That's amazing. Comment from Max. I think that's our Max from email. You guys are great hosts. Any tips for easing guests into the conversation at the start of the show, especially for in-person events? Yeah, that's a good one. Do you have any ideas of how, like, because usually in-person events, speakers are kind of seasoned, like they're most of the time ready to talk. But when there are cameras pointed at them and they know that now this is not just in this room, it's also going live, it's also going to stay on the internet forever. I would say, maybe there's something that you would recommend.
Yeah, actually, there are a couple of things. First of all, I think that if the AV team, anyone that's running AV, is actually physically chats to and lets people know what's happening, particularly a host or any speakers. Give them the run of show, give them the timings, let them know what's going to happen. Forewarned is forearmed. If people know what to expect, here's what's going to happen. At 6:15, you're going to hear some music. We'll bring the house lights down. The music will start. Then you'll see me wave at you. That's your cue to walk on stage. The best thing to do is to welcome everyone, thank them for being there, thank everyone for setting up the event, and then you can move into your first piece. Like, give people a structure, let them know what's going to happen, and that will help them feel more at ease. And if you make a personal connection with anyone that has to be on stage, and let them know I'm here to help you, just that. It's huge.
That's
a personal connection, because in-person events are in person. You got to put the person in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Great tip. There's a comment from Instagram.
Sorry, and communication. How are we communicating with each other? Establish your lines of communication, whether it's I'm going to wave at you or get me on Slack, or this is the WhatsApp group, or we're using messengers like
you need to know where to go, because when you're in the middle of it, it's pretty chaotic. Yeah, I can totally see that.
If you have more than one guest, you have lots of things you need a run of show, and you need to tell people here's what's going to happen at these times. Yeah. So I want to make sure that we take a question from Instagram, because I just said, like, if you cannot take since Instagram questions are not coming through to our chat, you can just copy it and paste it as a caption. And this is exactly what we did. So it does not show up as Instagram, but this question came from Instagram, and would love to acknowledge that. So the viewer says, love the setup. How do you get the screen set up? The screen setup. I'm not sure. What do we think? Are we talking about events here, and like how would I get the screen?
Maybe
at the event into the studio, or this screen setup? Yeah,
like let's imagine that folks right here were not only doing the talk, but they also had some slides or some screen share to share. What would you do? What's your quick pro tip on this one before we talk about repurposing?
Ideally, you have two laptops. One will be doing whatever it is that needs to be shown at the event, and then the output of that can be sent to both the screens at the event and into the Restream studio. Alternatively, as we touched on earlier, you could have both things. You have a laptop, or you have the event screens, and then you have a duplicate of whatever it is going to be shown, and you put those into your scenes in the Restream studio. But using a capture card, they're like $10. You don't have to go for the Camlink, Elgato 4K Camlink that are what is they, $60, $100, I think maybe for these capture cards. I have a few. I also have one that's, like I said, it was like $10, and it's perfectly fine for this kind of thing. And the colors aren't quite as accurate, but for something like, sharing a deck, so that would just come in, you just press E in the studio and it will give you the option to bring a second camera in, and then you can just bring that up and it would come up exactly the way that we have that there.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Does that answer the question, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to take one more quick question here, and then we will talk about repurposing. What if I want to connect multiple cameras for in-person events?
Yeah.
So when we talk about like multiple camera system, again, we would encourage you to keep it simple. But the second camera is an option. Charles, do you want to break this down?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for this event, if I was to do it again, I would have camera A would be the wide that we have here, and then camera B would be one that I would physically move around and zoom in, and I would get individual people so as someone spoke. And then I would have two scenes. Scene 1 would be wide, scene 2 would be the close-up, and I would just cut, between those two scenes with the up and down arrows. The alternative would be to have something like a Blackmagic switcher, which are relatively inexpensive, and that would have the two cameras would feed into that, and then that would be the capture card itself, and that would feed into the Restream studio as a camera, and then you can just cut between those cameras manually. That would be great.
And that's how you could use scenes. You could create one camera, assign one camera to one scene, and then assign another camera to another scene, and then just switching between those scenes would be your switcher within studio.
Yeah, alternatively, you would have an external box to do it, like a Blackmagic box or something like that. There are several.
But if you don't have that, just use extra camera feature and create two scenes, and that's going to be very simple.
And then you can just literally up and down,
So live and what comes after? What comes after the event is over is arguably the most important part. Because yes, some people will make it to the event. Some people will watch it live. But then what? There's so much great content that you already created there because speakers probably shared some great insights. There were great questions. There were like this kind of like vibe shots of the B-roll that you hopefully captured as well. What can you do with all that? Let's see a quick demo of what you can do with after the event.
Oh, it's me again.
It ties into this great question from Elizabeth. She's saying, love watching Charles, watch Charles. So let's do it. Let's just do that.
One meetup, weeks of content. Here's how to get huge value from every event you host when you take it live.
With Restream, every keynote, panel, fireside chat, and unexpected meme-worthy moment is pure marketing gold. Splash live clips all over your socials whilst the event is still happening, with even more clips ready when you wrap. These are your best moments captured automatically, ready to schedule and share.
Honestly, that's just a start.
Every presentation becomes blog posts, podcasts, and social content of every kind, continuing to delight your speakers, sponsors, and community long after the meetup ends.
One event, building momentum to the next through weeks of content with a platform as simple as a video call. Take your next event live with Restream.
So this is
not again.
Not again. No, I think this is a really good reminder of the power of clipping, because we mentioned live clips during the event that could be instrumental in attracting the attention to the virtual version of it, and of course, giving people online the idea to join the next event in person if you're doing those at scale. Live clipping is super powerful, and actually, this is something that we're doing right now. So if you're watching this show on X or YouTube or LinkedIn, we are posting live clips from this event. I do believe that we had a few batches that already posted, so you can just simply go to Restream page or Restream YouTube channel and go to Shorts, and you will see the clips from the event that is happening right now with a link inviting you to come back to the full show. This is a great tactic because you capture completely different feeds, completely different scrolling traffic, basically, and you're bringing those people into your event. Very, very powerful. Absolutely must do. However,
they give people at the event a chance to actually repost for you. I'm at this event. Look how cool I am.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And they're super shareable because they're short, they're easy, they're bite-sized, they're very, very, very effective. But even after the live clips, after the event is over, there is still a ton of material that you could reuse. So the two major ways to use clips is, of course, to do recaps. So basically capture really interesting highlights, insights, best questions, fun moments, like meme-worthy stuff that you can just basically repurpose as your marketing, as your social, as your recap, as your ads, potentially, even if you want to boost and put some budget behind them. So that is the true goal that every in-person event provides for you, is that it's just a ton of content that's already cool, that's already filmed, that's already curated, that you can then repurpose into those short verticals. And another thing is that those clips can become, again, pre-promotion for your next event. So it basically closes the loop of like the full cycle of how you film the event, you repurpose the clips, and then those clips also become that pre-promotion for the next event, which will also be filmed and create new clips too. And then that cycle can be kind of never ending. So this is a moment that I captured from basically the behind the scenes of Raycast dashboard, right? Like as they were live, I was clipping from that clipping project, and I was like looking at what was going on and picking the best moments. And I just want to show you one of those clips so you can see how they look. This is actually the clip that was captured during the live show. We could have posted it while we were still live. And of course, we share it with the Raycast Cursor and Versal team. So they might be using that as recaps and hopefully as promotions for future events. So let's have a look. The beauty of this clip is that it was a question that was taken from live, that YouTube question that somebody asked. It was taken by the speakers and then they commented on it. And that became this 1 minute little clip. Let's have a look.
What's one feature from the other team's product that you secretly envy?
Maybe I'll start with this one. I envy the fact that Raycast is at the desktop level, at the OS. A lot of things that we at Versal do are web-bound. And so they rely on a URL, they rely on being in the web. But I love the native APIs. I love being able to do native voice dictation. I love the glass look. I love being able to have rounded corners on Windows. So I do envy the native feel that Raycast can bring.
I love Versal preview links. And then I love like all the extensions in Raycast. That's what makes it magical.
I'm a heavy cursor user. I spent $6,000 last month on usage. You're welcome. The preview links are good. I feel like a preview link just makes code available to other people just visually. So it just presents the same thing. An engineer reads the code and understands it. But if you have a marketing team, the code is like nonsense. And so you want to have the visual preview and want to have them evolved. So I think those are.
So that's basically, I think there are two things that this little demo does here. One, it kind of like gives you the feel of like how the audio and like the overall event looked from this clip. You don't have to go back and watch the whole stream, right? Like you can kind of envision what was going on there. The second thing that I love about this clip is that it basically gave some air and space to all of the speakers. And with Restream Clips Reframe, you can actually very easily move your framing. And even if speakers are kind of like in wide shot like we had there, you can focus on specific speaker whenever they talk. The third thing I like about this is that it was answering the question that came from live chat, right? Like, so this was including the virtual audience into the conversation and actually driving what the speakers were saying. So another powerful moment for doing event in person and virtual, like a hybrid event at the same time. And you can see that this piece, this is actually one of the longest clips that we have. A lot of clips that we ended up cutting are like 30, maybe 35 seconds. So they're a lot like smaller. This is kind of like on the longer side of things. But it does give you like this really cool insight, like what the people are talking about. And it's super shareable. It's super shareable for all three speakers, for all three companies, and potentially a lot of people who were in the audience, including the person who asked that question, right? So there's so much virality potential there, and this kind of clips get cut automatically. So that is the beauty of it all.
I mean, all three companies are being represented there within, and it's showing how, in businesses you talk about dog fooding, using your own product as we are doing right now. Yeah. They're talking about using each other's product. It's a fabulous clip. It's a great clip. And that would not have come about, these people praising each other and these people interacting in that way wouldn't have come about without an event, a live event, for them to actually express that gratitude and that experience with each other. And I think then that's such a great moment that also would have been lost had it not been live streamed. That would not exist, and we wouldn't be able to share in that, and we wouldn't, and so therefore, it's good for us as a consumer to see that and to get a vibe for those companies, because you want to like the people who you're giving money to, right? As a customer, and I think that's so valuable for them as a company and as a brand to be putting that out into the world. I think that this is it's a good choice of yours to choose this particular clip.
Oh, it's amazing. And yeah, I think it just truly represents of what's possible. We also have a quick quote here from Pedro, who we mentioned in the beginning. He's at Raycast. He's at Hype. So product marketing, content. And this is something that he gave you. This quote is what he gave you verbally, right? So we just typed it up. But that's what he said.
Okay, this is two quotes. He came up to me and he was like, "This looks so good," and then we had a conversation. And then at the end of that conversation, he was like, "I'm really glad we could do this. There were so many people that couldn't make it to the event." Or, I wrote it to you at the time. I was like, "Look at this, it's great." And he really genuinely did say this to me.
And this is true because a lot of people wouldn't have been part of this event, including the person who asked the question. And of course, the taking it live was the breakthrough. And hopefully in the future, we'll see more in-person events from tech communities being taken live and hopefully repurposed into clips. And the value there for everyone involved is just so great.
So follow up to this, he actually looked at what I was doing and he was like, "How are you doing this?" And he looked at the camera. He was like, and then he looked down and I said, "Yeah, it's just the camera. It's just coming into this Elgato capture card." He was like, "Oh, that's what I do." Yeah. Like in his studios. And so I was like, "That's the point, setup. Dude. It's just the same stuff. It's so easy."
Same setup, yeah. And another thing that I think is interesting is that a lot of people who run meetups, hackathons, events, and all this community in-person gatherings almost always at least consider to record it for the future, right? So the idea of bringing a computer or bringing a camera and a tripod is pretty much on everyone's mind if you are planning an event. So, let's capture it. And it's literally anything, even if it's arts. Like I have a friend who is an actress in like local just community theater here in Austin, Texas, and they capture every performance. So like they bring the camera anyway. So all you need to add to this to take it live is a laptop and audio, right? Of course, if you're having like a bunch of different people on the stage, that's a little bit more complicated. But if you have one speaker, keynote, or even a fireside chat with 2-3 speakers, as we just showed, it's pretty simple.
We are sort of very specifically talking about corporate stuff, but this could be your kid's soccer game. This could be a religious gathering. This could be, this could be a ticketed event like. I went to the San Francisco Opera not so long ago, and there were virtual tickets that you could buy. Like this is all events. Any event that people would want to attend, you can make it live, and it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super excited. We are going to take a few more questions from the community right now from our live chat. So if you had any last questions about Restream in general or how to take your meetup or event live, now is the time. We'll be wrapping up in just about 5 minutes. So this is the last chance to do it. All the videos and all the guides that we share today will be published shortly. So be on the lookout for that on our YouTube and X and LinkedIn. But this is your last chance to ask a few questions. And I'm going to take a few that we marked earlier that we didn't have a chance to address just yet. I love this one because it's praise. I have high expectations of Restream. It's my favorite for streaming and I always use it. So this is really cool. And you should have high expectations from Restream for your in-person events or for your virtual stuff because this is the bar that we're thriving to reach. And if we are not getting you there, call us out. Talk to our support, request features, tell us what we can do better because this is definitely where we stand when it comes to expectations. We want to meet the highest that you have. Absolutely.
I've said I'm at this company because of the support, but I had to reach out to the support.
Yeah, totally.
And then what happened was what really sold me even more on the company.
That's so awesome. I love hearing that because I was part of it.
Well, it was you, wasn't it?
Part of it. Just a small
That's the
part.
thing I'm not saying is that it
Yeah.
was you that was on the other end of the support.
I was
at
like,
that
I'm going
time.
to jump into this thing because it's important
Yeah.
because we all care. Yeah, because sometimes you might reach out to support and you might get me because I just got involved and I was like, hey, I really want to solve this for this creator. So like, let me just like really dive in. When you stream and other platform messages appear, is there a way that you guys can work on removing the Restream relay info? So basically, if you're responding from Restream Studio on some platforms, it's like your response appears as Restream, I believe, or if you're relaying chats from one platform to another. So there's a feature called chat relay, right? Like, so if you want to show your X comments, for example, on YouTube, you can enable that, but then they will appear from Restream because it's just how API works. It is a very technical limitation because we heard this request for years and years and years. Right now, there's no like clear and simple solution to it, but we do have this on our radar and we're thinking about this. So thanks for calling, for flagging this again. I actually will bring this up to our technical team and see if there are any kind of like, if there's any progress on that one. But yeah, it is just a technical limitation of how API works right now. So it's not the decision from us that we like deliberately push the branding. It's just how the platforms allow us when we relay those chats. They basically allow an API partner, which is Restream, to relay it versus your own brand or your own channels, if that makes sense. From what I understand. And of course, this explanation is not very technical. I am that marketer that they talked about who like thinks code is crazy. So, but I will bring this up to our product team because,
quote,
yeah, absolutely. There is a question about how does Restream plugin compares to Adium. There are a few things that are very similar. So it is also free. It is connected to OBS. The main benefit of our plugin is because we are connected with a lot more channels. We have partnership with TikTok, so you can actually stream directly to TikTok. We have options to stream to way more channels and destinations. So that is one like major benefit for the OBS plugin. And I'm not super familiar how Atom works, like in detail, but I think in terms of like how you set it up, it's very similar. And another thing that we offer that is arguably even better is that you can also do vertical and horizontal streaming at the same time from Studio, which is a lot easier than OBS. For those people who do not know how to use encoders, they could go live from their browser-based Studio and appear on platforms in vertical format without any effort, without any setup at all. And the beauty of our Studio version is that we automatically adjust layouts. So if you're watching us on YouTube right now, for example, there's a horizontal version where Charles and I are sitting next to each other, and there's a vertical version where we're staggered. I'm actually going to, because I really like to show this. Let me do a little screenshot smile. So I am going to get this image into the Studio, maybe.
While you do that, so one of the other things is that, this is a browser-based system. Therefore, it's lighter weight on your system, and you're only sending one stream. One stream is going up to the cloud per se, and then it's being disseminated from there to all of your platforms rather than you sending individual streams. So it's not as just lighter on your system, your internal processing on your system, it's lighter on your bandwidth. Therefore, you can do things like saving some of that bandwidth for local recordings. And so you can have your clean camera feeds recorded independently. And then you can then re-edit afterwards if you need to do a cut down or you're creating a podcast. I used to do a podcast where we would record live and then I would edit afterwards. And Restream will record each camera and each participant individually, and then you can export that, and it comes with an XML which will just drop straight into your video editor, and then you get individual tracks. Everything you've used in the studio is all placed on your timeline perfectly, and then you can start editing from there, cutting to individual cameras if need be.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's the layouts.
And this is the view of layouts if you are in Studio. So the bandwidth thing is applicable to Studio. If you're using OBS plugin, it's still going to use some extra system from you. Similar to any other plugin that's on OBS. But if you're using Studio, all the load is going through our servers. It's all in the cloud, so no extra load on your system. And then you get this great option to not worry about how to look good on vertical feeds because we automatically adjust it. And when you change the layouts, it adjusts as well. So this is super mad. I'm not going to take a screenshot of that because it's kind of like the same
Screenshot,
stuff.
the screenshot.
Yeah, because I'm seeing right now that in vertical mode it's actually again changed. So now we're not staggered, but we have like the big screenshot and then us under. So that's pretty cool that it is all like and like thought through and adjusting automatically. So if you don't have if you don't want a lot of like processing time of your own brain of how to arrange all this and how to make it work, Studio Vertical version is going to be your jam. I love that. All right. So I think this is a wrap. There's one more Super Cheerio. I think that's Visna. I love that. Hi. No questions, just a hi from me. Great show. We'll rewatch. Yes, and we will share a ton of clips and little highlights from that. So thank you so much for stopping by and saying hello. It's really good to see you. Awesome. All right. So I think we are going to basically wrap it up here. I am going to very quickly tease our next conversation. We are going to talk
more
about
pictures of me. Thanks.
more pictures of you. I asked Romario to create like a nice little visual of how the new Clips editor is going to look, and of course he picked the star, the person who everyone wants to see in there, and found the moment of you. So we are going to talk about that in detail. I am not 100% sure yet if this is going to be next Wednesday or the Wednesday after, because they're still ironing out a few details with the editor. So it is possible that the next one is going to be just Ask Me Anything without like prepared content. So everything about your questions. But it's either the next one or the one after. We are going to really dive into editing your clips. So the clips and highlights that we talked about as your superpower of repurposing after any in-person event. We will show you exactly how you can make them your own, how to customize them, how to make them beautiful, how to edit them in real time if you're using live clipping. All of that with product manager of Clips, Romario, right here on all Restream channels. All right, I think that is it. So that's the wrap, and I am super excited to.
Any comments or suggestions, or you can always get in contact and make sure you tell us ideas. Restream.io. Let us know things that you want if you do have specific questions about that, about things like the relay chat and things like that. Go and get that subject sort of boosted up, and it will be more likely to be looked at. And Restream really does react to things that the community wants.
Yeah, I actually saw there was a comment from Instagram originally, and I see that it got relayed into YouTube. So I'll highlight it here first. Does Restream have any NDI developments coming on the platform? And there's also that same question appearing on YouTube. So I guess it got transferred. I did see that comment. So we, to the best of my knowledge, this is not our priority right now. But these are the kind of questions that we take during Ask Me Anything. So if our next show is going to be Ask Me Anything and live Q&A primarily, we will go into details with that. We do invite developers as well sometimes for Ask Me Anything, so that would be a great question for them. But I do want to highlight it because I want to make sure that makes it to our transcript so we can actually...
that actually could be useful for events. You know what?
Yeah.
An NDI feed from could be actually quite useful for events.
It could be, yeah. Like it's always something that we're looking into, and I would say one other place where what I would recommend going is ideas.restream.io. I'm just going to show it here. It's a very simple thing to type up. This is our feature and feedback collection space. Our product team looks there every single day. Marketing team looks there every single day to figure out like what we can talk about more, because sometimes we get ideas about things that already exist. And to me, as a marketer, that signals that we just don't promote it enough. Some ideas are things that are already on the roadmap that helps us to prioritize that. Some ideas are not on the roadmap yet. So that's an opportunity for you to let us know that this is something that's valuable and important to you. And then we can assess, prioritize, and hopefully build it for you. So ideas.restream.io is something we definitely recommend you to visit and to check out. And with that in mind,
NDI, just very quickly, NDI is sending images over basically a network, an Ethernet connection.
Yeah.
Therefore, what you could do at an event is you could have an NDI virtual camera capturing the screen of someone that's presenting, and then bring that as an extra camera into your Restream studio. So that actually, I might look at seeing how stable that is. That's a pretty good idea.
So many comments, of course, as we want to wrap up, and I cannot make myself not acknowledge them. This is one of the problems with live show. Phil Sledge is checking in and saying, are you looking forward to the news about creators live streaming on X? I know that there's more updates that are coming on X Live, and we are really looking forward to that. Absolutely, because X is one of the platforms that we are partnering with, and that's where we actually have a really, really good and solid integration. As you can see, the comments from X are coming through. The stats are coming through, so you can see your results in analytics. So everything that they're building right now to improve the experiences is extremely exciting for us, and we cannot wait to work with the X team to bring this into Restream. And then another little sanity check on, is this really live, from Tweety This. It is, and that's why you are on the screen. Love that. All right. When streaming with Restream, and yeah. And I think there's also a request to let us turn off video previews. It kind of depends on what exactly you're talking about, like where the video previews that you want to turn off. Then let us know. Again, ideas is a good place to do that. And also our live support. If that's something in particular that you're seeing in your setup, you can reach out to them, and maybe there's a way to turn it off. I'm just not sure which exact video preview are you talking about, because if it's in Studio, or if it's in Encoder, if you're seeing it in OBS, if you're seeing it, if you're talking about the preview that is between.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like my video's gone, if that's what they mean.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the video preview, like the preview. But preview to me is like something that is before it goes live, right? Like something that you see there. So yeah, just clarify that, and we will be happy to look into that. And Tweety This is like, oh snap, your guys sound amazing, and this video looks amazing as well. So yeah, yes, as you can see, it is live, and we're acknowledging as many comments as we can. Good stuff. All right.
It's browser-based. Like, you're getting really great quality out of a browser-based studio. It really is fantastic.
Just laptop, camera, and good mic is all you need. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Big thanks for the whole Restream team that made this whole thing possible. Like, streaming this event was easy because our developers and product folks created a great studio. And that's what we recommend everyone else uses if you're taking your live stream event, your in-person event, live. Thank you very much for Grant. He was our moderator today on YouTube and helped answer questions that we couldn't take. There's always more questions that we can answer, but we really appreciate every single person who chose to spend this time with us, ask questions, provide feedback, share anything that you guys experience with Restream is super important to us. We're live here every single Wednesday. So if you are you have more questions about Restream, definitely be sure to subscribe and like this show, because then you will get notifications whenever we go live, and you can ask us more questions because your questions drive our content. But things that you ask sometimes become a whole episode of the next show, and we definitely try to take as many questions as we can. So that's awesome. But our moderators are there and trying to answer and point you out to some resources that we have. So Grant on moderation, Becca is our co-producer today. She was behind the scenes, bringing in comments, starting chats, and making sure that we look like $1 million every time we go live. And of course, Romario and his team were on live clipping. They were making sure that we post the best clips live while we're still here. So if you haven't seen our live clips yet, check them out. If you're not using live clips, then you should, because they really give you additional views. And one of our recent updates to Restream Analytics actually shows you the views that come from live clips. So that's another cool way to see how you perform. And so live clipping views are now part of your overall kind of like results and outcomes of your reach. And of course, big thanks to my favorite co-host, Charles.
Overly chatty Charles. You did a great job, as ever. Well done.
You did a great job. You did a great job filming the event. You did a great job networking with our friends from Raycast and new friends from Marcel and Cursor. You really, we got so much praise because of you, that the event looked great, that the stream looked great, the clips are great. So this is literally all you. So it's a big round of applause for Charles.
No, it's not
And
all me, but absolutely not. Like
Not
the
all,
whole
but
point of
it's a
this is
big-
that the studio makes it seamless, and
It's a big part.
having you there, it was no. You were
having
this is
having a
definitely
good
proof.
producer. I'm
Although
not.
I am a little tired, which is why I'm guzzling coffee and getting hyper because it's as Romario wrote and said it's only Wednesday. Yeah, it is only Wednesday, but believe me, it feels like Friday afternoon right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's been a long week, but we're so happy we were able to bring this content to you. So stay tuned for that and ask us more questions. People are saying, "Great job, Charles," and I could not agree more. And with that in mind, thank you everybody, and see you next Wednesday. I'm gonna send you some hearts, but first, let's get us to our thank you screen.
Now let me welcome everybody.